How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the Enclave. So today we're going to have a bit of a shorter intro because I think the video might be a bit longer, but I'm going to be taking you through the 5 steps that I take to basically take brass from nasty and dirty to ready to be put back in the press to reload. So yeah, like I say, without any further ado, let's get into the intro and then into the process. Okay, and we are back at the cleaning section of the desk, I suppose. So, this is the dishwasher liquid that I use. This is literally the cheapest blue liquid you can find. And honestly, I will be completely real with anyone watching this video. I was trying to get Dawn because that's what everyone in the US recommends. But I'm not willing to pay $800 a bottle for the stuff to have it imported or have it bought at a place that imported it already. So I just literally try to find the next blue colored dishwashing liquid. And I don't know what it is, but it works better than Sunlight. So take that from where it comes. I have tested this against Sunlight Professional. I actually bought a 5-liter bottle because Sunlight Professional only comes in a 5-liter bottle. And I thought, oh, this has got to be what all the high-end places use, you know? And yeah, no, it doesn't really work for brass all that well. So Starlight, best stuff I could find. Obviously, we've got our tumbler. In here, we've got 100 pieces of pretty dirty, nasty brass. Inside there, we also have some tumbling media. These are Orbits. I did put a link to them in the tumbler review video, but I found these work the best. They're the easiest to get out of the brass. They're the easiest to detect if they stay stuck in the brass. I've found pins in brass that I've bought that went through their run, so obviously their cleaning process, went through my cleaning process, and I still found the pin when I was sitting at the reloading press. Because some of those pins are really, really tiny. These are really nice. They come out of the brass easily. They're easy to see. And yeah. Next up, we have some cold water. So I'm going to just try to pour this in without completely messing all over the desk. So we're going to put about 2/3 cold water. And then we are going to fill it up with some freshly boiled water. This stuff is hot. So basically the combination of the two, we will end up with basically some fairly warm water. Like, I could put my fingers in it, but it's not particularly comfortable. Let's just say I wouldn't, I don't know. It's maybe a bit hotter than a regular bath, I guess. And then obviously to that we are going to add our Starlight. Honestly, I do not measure. Like I said, the stuff is dirt cheap, so I just go ham, pour it in, and go from there. Okay, so I just dump as much soap as I sort of feel like. I have wiped down this rim with a bit of tissue paper just to ensure that it is nice and dry so we get a good seal. Obviously my dumb butt forgot the O-ring. That is my bad. So let's get the O-ring on. And there we go. Get that nice and locked down. Give it a bit of a shake. Get those beads nicely distributed, or the orbits, whatever you want to call them. And then we're basically at the start point. So I will be running this for 1 hour, but So, like I was saying, sorry, I'll be running this for 1 hour, purely because I have all the time in the world. This first step, you really can get done in 30 minutes. So the first wash, at least 30 minutes, up to an hour, with beads, with soap, everything. And yeah, we will get back for step 2. Okay, so here we are. We've just completed our first 1 hour cycle, and as you can see, that water is absolutely filthy. So we're going to rinse this out, just give it like 2 or 3 rinses, and then we will get to stage 2, which is the first drying stage. Okay, so here we are on the bed for this stage. So as I stated, just gave everything a bit of a rinse, and now we're going to pour the brass out onto the drying tray, and then obviously begin the drying process. Now, more of these balls that you could sort of leave in the container, the easier it is for you. But the nice thing about these drying trays is that they basically end up working like a sieve. So you end up sieving out the brass from the balls, or the orbits, or whatever you want to call them. And then, come on. Yeah, so basically just give this a bit of a wiggle. Okay, we should have most of the balls out at this point. So we'll just return the last pieces of brass to the tray. Okay, so there we go. Now, as you can see, this is looking pretty good already. You could absolutely stop once this is dry, but we are going to take it a couple steps further to get pretty much brand new brass. So keep watching. I'm going to take this over to the dryer for stage 2. Okay, so here we are at stage 2. We have the first time washed brass in the dehydrator, and we're going to let that run for approximately 30 minutes. Obviously you could just check it whenever, but I normally just run it for about 30 minutes, then I know everything's nice and dry. And yeah, so that is stage 1 drying, or stage 2 overall. So it's the first set of drying and the first set of washing complete. So stay tuned, and we will be back once the drying cycle is complete for stage 3. Okay, so here we are. We have basically finished stage 2, which is the first drying process. And now we are going to move on to stage 3, which is the depriming step. So I'm going to move the camera over to the press, and then we will get on to stage 3, depriming. Okay, so we are at the press. As you will see here, I only have 2 dies installed. The DAA magnetic powder checker, purely because I like to keep that set as it is, so I don't remove that. And the resizing and decapping die. That is it. So basically at this point, we are going to take our brass and basically grab as many pieces as you can grab, tilt them upside down just to make sure that there are no little spheres or orbs, whatever, in them. And at this point I also do just a little bit of an inspection on the actual hull of the case, because I don't want any issues. I will actually show you guys a case that ended up getting reprimed and basically resized and everything, and got to the stage where it had powder in it, new primer, everything, and basically realized there was a massive chip out of the case, a massive crack in the case, and obviously that's not something you want. So at this point I always try and just give a little bit of a look at the bodies of the cases, make sure there's nothing crazy going on with them. But at the same time, when I actually collect the ammo off the floor, or when I collect the casings off the floor I should say, at that point I also give them an inspection, and once they're all put back in the ammo case, I inspect the rims and things there as well. So if you guys are wondering why you don't see like a dedicated inspection step, that is because I do inspect the best I can at each step, and then obviously once the rounds are complete and in the block or going into the block, I do an overall inspection there of the ammo as it is complete. So yeah, basically we're just gonna fill up these tubes and then get to resizing and depriming. So for the most part, when we do the sifting at the end of stage 2 there, when we put all the brass onto this tray, I would say 99.9 of those little orbits out during that process. So like I said in the beginning, I've actually never had one of those make it past this step. So where I'm basically sitting, turning them upside down. I think I've had 2 out of all my thousands of rounds actually fall out here, because when we do the sifting technique with this tray, like I say, 99.9% basically end up staying in that process. So that is pretty cool. And yeah, that being said, like I said, with the little tumbling pins, they're almost like little pieces of needle almost. I do find that a lot of those end up getting stuck in the brass or stuck in primer holes or whatever, and obviously we don't want that. So there we go, we've got all of our brass loaded up into the press, and we will get to depriming. Okay, so here we are at stage 3 depriming. So we basically are just going to run the press and basically work our way through all 100 odd pieces of brass. Oh damn, I didn't lube the die. But that is another reason we will get into in another video why I do this in 2 sections. So you'll see that I'm obviously doing the depriming and resizing now. Then when it actually comes time to do the actual loading, we then remove the resizing and depriming die from the press and we just do everything else. But it's because of that movement that you could see there. But I will do a more in-depth and detailed video on that. So yeah, this is basically stage 3, and once this is done, we will get back to you with stage 4. Okay, so here we are with stage 4, which is wash number 2. So as we did in the previous stage, we have deprimed all the brass. So yeah, you can see that's all nice and deprimed. We have got our basically tumbler ready to go, filled with the same sort of stuff. So we added our cold water, our hot water, and a little bit of our Starlight. And then, come on, okay, there we go. Yeah, basically we're going to get this reinstalled and back on the rotary tumbler for its second wash. So basically the main purpose for the second wash is to clean out the primer pockets. So what I found is the reseating of new primers is far easier and far smoother when I do this method. So as you will see, we don't have any of the tumbling media. I basically took that all out for this wash. So again, if you have time, run this for about an hour. If you don't have time, 30 minutes should suffice. You will be better off than not doing this. And yeah, I found not only the reseating of new primers to be far better with this method, but I also find that removing the primers again, so basically the step we just did now, step 3, is also a little bit easier. So the primers come out a little bit better, a little bit less friction, etc. So I guess without much more to say or do, let's get this running for another hour, and then we will be back with stage 5. Okay, so here we have the end of stage 4. As you can see, there is a relative amount of dirt in the water. It's not a huge amount, definitely not as dirty as the first wash, but there is definitely a little bit more cleaning happening within the second cycle. So yeah, we're just going to get this drained, rinsed, and then we will be back for the final stage, stage 5, which is the second drying cycle. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so here we are with the final stage, stage 5, which is basically the second round of drying. And yeah, any marks that were on the cases are gone. There are obviously some, like tarnishes and things like that, which are actual marks on the brass. Obviously, those aren't really going to come off. But yeah, all the powder residue is gone, all the dirt is gone, the dirt in the primer pockets should be pretty much gone. Yeah, it's pretty clean. Pretty clean. Yeah, they just need to dry and we will be on our way. So I'm going to let this run through the final stage 5, and then we will get back with a shot of the dry brass. Okay, and there we have it. The brass is beautifully dry, and we have some lovely clean brass ready to be loaded. So as you can see, it's all good and clean, sparkly, shiny, looking really, really good all the way through. You can see in that casing there is nice and clean on the insides. Primer pockets are nice and clear, and they are ready to be reloaded. So that is pretty much the 5 steps of how I reload my brass. As always, if you have different methods or you have questions about why I do certain things, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching. If you got more time, check out another video there on the side. Otherwise, peace out.